So let me begin. I call it how to set and achieve all your goals. Because today we're talking about goals. At a later time, we'll talk about selling. And as I told you, I love sevens. And I love threes and sevens and 12s. And so you'll find that when we talk about selling, we'll talk about the 7 essential steps to effective selling. If you do any one of them wrong, or you miss out on any one of them, you'll not make the sale. Sale will kill the sale, as we used to say. So how to set and achieve all your goals? What I've come up with is what I call the golden triangle of success. And as you know, I spent about 150,000 hours studying and teaching success all over the world. Somebody asked me, I was doing a conference call yesterday, and someone on the call said, how many talks or seminars have you given? And I said, about 5 million. In the last 42 years, I've given about 5 million talks and seminars. And some of them were small, some of them were full day. And that was a little bit surprising for them. But if you add it up, you spend that many years, the numbers tick, 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 they add up. So I've always thought, why have I been as successful as I have? And I've come up with what I call the golden triangle of success, the golden triangle. And I love threes because 3 is a cosmic number, just like 7 is a cosmic number. So the cosmic number says there's 3. The first key to this paragraph is the acceptance of responsibility for your own life. The most important words that you can use at the beginning of your career and throughout are the words, I am responsible. I am responsible. There's nobody else to blame but me. I am where I am and what I am because of myself. If I'm not happy about my current situation, it's up to me to change it, not up to someone else. I am responsible. And I learned this when I was 21 years old and I was broke and working as a laborer and living in a little apartment when it was 35 degrees below zero outside. And my apartment was at 2 rooms. One room was sort of like the kitchen room, and the other room was the bedroom that had a couch that opened up to the bed. And then on the corner, there's a little bathroom. And this is where I was living by myself. And I said to myself, I said, this is my life. I'm 21 years old. I'm a long way from home, and I didn't have any great relationship with my parents anyway. And I'm not going back. And this is it. And I realized I'm responsible. And it was, even to this day, I think, oh, wow. Because if you accept responsibility, you find that leaders are leaders because they accept responsibility for results. They accept responsibility for results. And that's what happens is they are brought, leader coming through. Move aside because the leader is the person who does not blame other people, does not say he or she did this or who did that and so on and so forth. What they say is, I'm responsible. I'm responsible. And the interesting thing is, I studied thousands of hours, about 4,000 hours in the subject. What is the difference between success and failure? Well, go back to Aristotle. Successful people are happy. And what is the major block to happiness? It is negative emotions. In other words, if you have negative emotions, they block your happiness. They put sort of a cloud over your life. So how do you get rid of negative emotions? Well, what is the cause of negative emotions? And the answer is blaming others. It's impossible to have a negative emotion without blaming someone else for something in your life that makes you unhappy. So when you stop blaming other people, all your negative emotions disappear. And if you do it habitually over and over again, eventually you're just a positive person all the time. And it's when I study this, I spent 4,000 hours in probably 2 years studying the metaphysics of human development. And when I stumbled across what I just told you, I thought, wow, if the great goal in life is to be happy, and what causes us to be unhappy is we blame other people for something in our life that we're not happy, that we don't like, if we just stop blaming others and accept responsibility. So the magic words are, I am responsible. I am responsible. Something happens, something negative, probably you say, well, time out, I'm responsible. And people say, well, what if you go shopping and you come back to your car and there's a dent in the door and somebody's bumped into you and taken off? Are you responsible? In this case, you are responsible for how you respond. You're responsible for your responses. You did not bump into your own car, but now, time out. How do you respond? How do you handle it? What do you do with it? And what you do is you don't blow up and get angry and who did this and blame and so on and so forth. You say, well, I'm responsible, and I choose to remain calm. So what you do is you say, okay, what do I do now? What is my next step? And the interesting thing is, since you can only hold one thought at a time, positive or negative, if you think about positive step that you're going to take to deal with the situation, you can't think of anything negative. So you become a positive person. And soon, if you do it repeatedly over and over again, you just become automatically positive all the time. You become constructive. You look for the answer, something that you can do or stop doing to get the result. And you don't worry. Rule is, don't worry about things that you can't do anything about. One of my rules that I teach is that in life, it's very. Let me clarify this. I teach that never become upset or angry about something that you can't do anything about. There's something that you can't change, and you can't change the past. So if something has happened and somebody's bumped into your car, or you bought a stock or something, or somebody cheated you, it's a past event. You can't change the past. So don't get upset about a past event. Focus on the future and what you can do about the future, and don't worry about the past. Most of the unhappiness, all the psychologists and psychiatrists in the world today are spending every day working with patients, clients, and trying to help them deal with past events. And so the most important thing that a psychiatrist can do is help people to accept that such and such a thing happened, and it's unfortunate, and you didn't plan for it, but now get on with the future. And don't worry about things that you can't change, and you can't change the past. And that's so amazing. You can't change the past. You cannot change a past event. And so therefore, focus on the future. Focus on the future and what you want and where you're going. So that's the first part of the golden triangle, is to accept complete responsibility for yourself and your life and everything that happens. The second part of the golden triangle is goal setting. This is why we're here today, is your ability to set and achieve goals largely determines your success and happiness in life. There's just something wonderful about setting and achieving goals so that you're moving continually in the direction of something that makes you happy. And interesting, just thinking about a goal that you want to achieve makes you happy even before you've achieved the goal. That's why we'll talk about this in a minute, but the greater clarity you have about your goals, the more positive you are, because you think about your goals. You think about where you're going and what you're going to accomplish. You don't think about things that you can't change, and you don't think about things that you don't care about. And so that's number two, is goal setting. Now, these are the things that I discovered in my life. And number three is continuous learning. And continuous learning, when I discovered continuous learning from that book, How to Win Customers, I didn't realize that there were books on the skills of success. When I discovered that, I've read now about 7,000 or 8,000 books. You see behind me all of these books, all these shelves are double packed. There's 2 books in each of the shelves, and there's books above you and books to the right and to the left. There's books downstairs. There's books in my living room. My whole house is like a library. It's full of books. And I love to get books. Here's a book on how to become a millionaire. Da-da-da-da. Here's another book, The 8 Steps to Success. Da-da. Look at that. And then here's the inside the circle is you. I wonder who wrote that. And then, ta-da, The House of Values and Behaviors by Andy Albright and Jeff Bright. Is Jeff Bright here?
He's not one of the pictures, but he's watching. He hears his name.
So there's the book. Look at that. See? So I love it. I my legs get weak when I hold new books, because I've had so many discoveries you pick up a book and you open it up and you look at the table of contents and you go to the chapter that attracts you, and then you have something, and here's one: meet to learn. Meet to learn. Do you know how much faster you can learn stuff if you learn together? It's a really simple thing. That's in the book. Did you write this, Andy, or did you just have it written by? Anyway, my point is that one idea that is the right idea at the right time can change your life forever. It can change your life forever. I found, like, for example, when I I'll talk about this. Why were my sales struggling? Why was I struggling with sales? And the answer was I couldn't close sales. I'm really scared or incompetent or whatever it was. I was not afraid to make calls, but when it came to closing the sale, I was not very good at it. So I made a decision, and I'll talk about this in a second. I made a decision to learn how to become good at closing sales. And I went out and I bought everything that you could buy, every book that had a chapter in it on closing sales. And I developed a structured methodology of closing sales. So I could make calls on the front end and I could close sales on the back end. And my income went up 10 times in 1 year. I couldn't believe it. If you can learn how to close sales, your income goes up like a volcano. Unbelievable. And that's what I did. And yet that's what you can do as well. It's amazing how many people are earning far, far less than they could earn if they just simply knew how to ask for the order. And then I didn't like pressure. I didn't like tricks. All the books that were being written at that time were tricks and how you could dupe people into buying from you. So I said, no, yes, I'm only going to sell to people that I like, and I'm only going to work with people with no pressure. And so everything I taught, I began teaching it. I've taught it more than 1 million people all over the world. My books on closing the sale, the best-selling books in the world. And why? Because there's no pressure. We show people how to understand what people want and need, show them how to get it, and ask them to take action. And it's really simple, and there's no pressure, and everybody's happy. The customer is happy, and the salesperson is happy. So if you're having challenges with closing the sales, remember, you can learn any skill you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set for yourself. All business skills, sales skills are learnable skills. They're learnable. Everybody who can do it at one time couldn't do it. And then they learned how, and now they can do it. And whatever other people have done, hundreds of thousands and millions of others, you can do as well. So if other people are earning twice as much, then you can earn twice as much. What's the proof? Because the other people did it. At one time they weren't earning as much as they're earning, now they are. If they can do it, you can do it. Nobody's better than you, nobody's smarter than you. It's really simple. Once you have that attitude, is I can learn anything I need to learn to double my income. And you do. And it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. It gives you this great feeling of liberation. There's nothing in the outside world that can hold you back. And actually, you're responsible anyway. So you don't blame your problems or limitations on anyone else. You just accept responsibility. So that's the first thing. Now, the laws of success, I'll just give you these quickly. I talked to you about Aristotle's law of causality. That's the biggie. The fact is that if you do certain things in a certain way, you get the same results. So therefore, if you want to double your income, and you find someone else who's earning twice as much, and you know that that person was at one time earning half as much, and then what you do is you find out what they did to get from where they were to where they are. And then you do the same thing until you master the same skill. Pretty simple. And people say, it can't be that simple. I say, well, disprove it. And prove to me that I'm wrong. And nobody can. Nobody can. They say, all right, I'll prove to you it's wrong. And so the laws of success are, first of all, the law of cause and effect. And I'm sorry, the law of cause and effect. Whatever you do, you get certain results. So if you want to double your income, find somebody who's earning twice as much. Like I went and I asked Pete. I said, Pete, what are you doing differently from me? And he told me. And for the rest of my life, I found that if a person can't tell you personally, they'll write a book on it. Or they write a book or hold a seminar or do an audio program. But people love to share their success with others. And so the law of cause and effect means that if you do what other successful people do, you soon get the same results. It's a law. It's not a hope or a wish. It's a law. And it's one of the great laws, maybe the greatest law of human history. All of science and all of mathematics and all of medicine and everything is based on the law of cause and effect. So the second law that I love is the law of attraction. And the law of attraction says that if you think about your goals and you write your goals down and you visualize your goals, is you set up a force field of energy that starts to attract into your life everything that you need to achieve that goal. And sometimes the speed at which you attract it is almost scary. Sometimes you'll have an idea, you'll see something on TV, you read something in the newspaper, you think I should do that, and bang, phone rings and there it is. It's almost like a cartoon. And so therefore, be very clear, because these laws are neutral. They have no favorites. They don't choose some people or someone else. If you practice the law, if you think about a particular result or benefit, then you set up this force field of energy and you attract everything you want into your life. So be careful. Your mind is very powerful. And the more you use your mind, the more powerful it becomes. Pretty soon, you're going to be able to think and realize almost simultaneously. It'll move so fast. Wow, it's almost like touching a hot stove. Wow, geez, your mind is very powerful. So it's really important for your staff, for your friends, and for your family. Teach them to use your mind carefully. Your mind is an incredible tool, and it can either help you or hurt you. So use it to help you. By the way, you've heard of the book The Secret, written by a woman named Rhonda Byrne. Rhonda Byrne went to my seminar where I teach all these laws, living in New Zealand. And my rep in New Zealand told me that she came to the seminar and came to the seminar again, 2 days long, and then came to the seminar a third time, and then she went out and she wrote the book The Secret. And then she called me. She called me from New Zealand to San Diego, and she said, I'd like to talk to Brian Tracy about endorsing my book, because I did it based on all of his teachings. And one person in my office said, well, what's in it for Brian? How is he going to benefit? And she said, well, I don't have any idea. He said, well, we're not interested unless there's something in it for Brian. And he hung up the phone. And I only learned this much later, that this had happened. And so she said, well, who else can I get to endorse the idea of cause and effect, the idea of the law of attraction? And a group of friends of mine hold a meeting every year somewhere nice, usually Hawaii. And there's 30, 40, 50, and they get together and they exchange ideas and so on. I've been invited to attend several times and been unable to do it. And so they were having a meeting in Hawaii, and she got in a plane and hired a telecaster with a camera, and they flew up to Hawaii, and she interviewed a series of people, Dennis Waitley and Bob Proctor and Bob Richard and Dick Canfield, and so one after another they came up and they said, what do you think about the law of attraction? And they said, oh, it's a great law, worth wonderful. And it just hit like a stroke of lightning. And then they sent this they cleaned it up and sent it to Oprah. And Oprah said, well, this is a perfect subject for what we talk about. So she invited them all up to be interviewed on television, international television. And all of those people's income doubled and tripled, because you'll see them. They'll say it's a star of the secret, star of the secret, the star of the secret. So they're all stars of the secret. And basically, they just put a blanket on the wall. And they stood there and said, what do you think about the law of attraction? Really good. Okay, next. And so now you see they're all stars. So, and it was all, fortunately, they told me, it was all from my seminar, The Psychology of Achievement, where I teach, actually, over the course of 2 days, I teach 32 different laws. And In the beginning, the first session, we teach 7 laws, and one of the 7 laws is the law of attraction. And that caused the book, The Secret, to be written, and everybody to become successful and happy. Wonderful. So anyway, so the law of attraction, remember, it works. It's neutral. It works for you. It works 24 hours a day. Your mind is very powerful. Your mind is like a very powerful gun. And if you shoot this gun, it's going to go off and it's going to destroy whatever is in front of it. I just got a series of photographs, and I'll send them to you. It's an email, and it's something like 20 photographs that made history. And one of them shows Hitler and one of his senior officers, and they're looking at this cannon, which is the biggest cannon in history. And you could shoot. It's unbelievable. It's actually on railroad tracks, and you could roll it up, and then you could fire it, and it could destroy a small town over the horizon. And so the picture is really impressive. The biggest single gun in history. I'll send you a copy of a whole bunch of photographs, of which that is one of them. Very interesting. Some friend of mine had assembled these photos, and very impressive. But my point is that your mind is also like this great gun. You have incredible power in the way that you think. And if you think really clearly with tremendous emotion and energy and so on, it's astonishing what happens in your life. And so the third law is the law of persistence. You'll find that every single successful person from prehistory to now will say that the reason I'm successful is because I refuse to quit. I refuse to give up. I just continue to persist. It never occurred to me that I would quit. And that's really important. What you do is you take the idea of persistence and you say, no matter what happens, I'm never going to quit. And once you've taken that, you take the idea of quitting off the table. That's now let's get on with life, because the idea of quitting is not even a consideration. Many years ago, when I was going out with a girl, I was single, and I still remember her name was Heather, and she was very thoughtful, very smart girl. And she said, "May I ask you a question?" I said, "Sure." She said, "What is your most important principle in life? What's your most important quality?" And I thought, I never thought about that. I put that question to you, by the way. If someone in your family were to ask you, what is your most important quality? What would be your answer? So I thought about it, and I said, my most important quality is I am unstoppable. You're unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I won't quit. I've looked over my life. I've looked at my life experiences. By this time, I had traveled in more than 80 countries, and I had been in some very interesting experiences. And I'd had lots of opportunities to quit, and I just never quit. And she said, "Oh, that's interesting." And afterwards, I thought about that. So, and I ask you, what is your most important quality? Ask each person, what is it? And you can only tell what a quality is by looking at what you have done in the past under pressure, where the shit hits the fan and you have a choice and you can go one way or the other. What did you do? That's how you can tell what it is. It's not what you would like to have as a quality sometime in the future. It's what you demonstrated when it was necessary. Now, here's something I began teaching in my classes. And as I've told you, I've spoken to more than 5 million people in more than 5,000 talks. And I said, how would you like to double your income? Question. Well, the answer is everybody wants to double their income. So how do you do it? Is what you do is you start, and don't quit. I said, what is the most important principle for success in selling? It's persistence. It's your willingness to persist. It's your ability to become unstoppable. Now, how do you become unstoppable? Well, here's what I've discovered, is that you become what you think about most of the time. You become what you think about most of the time. Well, you also become what you say to yourself most of the time. It's called the Law of Affirmation. Whatever you say to yourself actually becomes your reality. And so if you want to become unstoppable, how do you do it? Well, you simply say the magic words, I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. And so I say to the audience, I say, all right, please Say those words. Just say, I am unstoppable. And the first time they'll go, mumble, mumble, mutter, I'm unstoppable. I said, no. Come on. Let's say it like you really mean it. Say, I am unstoppable. And so the second time you say, I am unstoppable. I said, no. Stop sucking your thumb. Say it like you mean it. I am unstoppable. And everybody shouts, I am unstoppable. And everybody laughs. I'm talking about 1,000, 2,000 people. We all laugh and everything else. I said, so from now on, because of the law of attraction, because of cause and effect, from now on, whenever you have any question at all, just say, well, I'm unstoppable. I never give up. Giving up is off the table. And then I told my kids this, by the way, when my kids were growing up. I say, well, one thing I know about you is you never give up. You never give up. You're unstoppable. You're unstoppable. Oh, Dad, I can't do that. You don't understand. I said, I know more about you than you realize. I'm your father, and I know that you never give up. And so now they've grown up and they're adults, and they say, well, I never give up. I may have a lot of problems, but I've been programmed, like programming into the computer. I never give up. And so what I ask you to do for the rest of your life, whenever you are looking at any problem, say, well, I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I never give up. I never give up. Just say that. And say that. And you know what happens? It's accepted by your subconscious mind as a command. And your subconscious mind that orients your thinking and your feeling and your actions so that you never give up. And you know why people achieve extraordinary things? It's because they never give up. They become clear about what they want, and then they start and they just don't stop. And you can do it. You can do it.